To paraphrase Forrest Gump, Walking Dead feature-length episodes are like a box of chocolates, the odd one will be good. Most are okay and some leave a bitter aftertaste. There have now been 23 bumper eps and, for the past few seasons, at least, they appear to be deployed solely to attract attention to themselves as event TV, seemingly without the writers having any idea how to fill the extra minutes with anything of substance. This can make boring, very boring, and quite annoying, so it is with some pleasure that I can say that, besides Carl taking about 1,000 years to die, Honor was not boring. Far from it. It helped that the episode's center point, Carl kicking the metaphorical bucket, was the most well-handled main character death the show has given us in years. I was surprised by how moved I was, Carl being a character upon whom I used to wish the most profound misfortune, that he spent some of his final hours dwelling on a cold-blooded murder he committed way back at the end of Season 3 showed how much the character blossomed from odious, beheaded snot-munchkin to stoic, brave and honorable leader. He received as good a send-off as anyone could have hoped for. The show has put a lot of groundwork into the development of Carl's moral grit over the past couple of seasons. These acts of quiet strength in the face of certain death felt entirely in character. The same goes for him demanding, in one final selfless act, to end it on his own terms, sparing Rick or Michonne the traumatic task of whisking his brains with a Bowie knife. Respect to you, Carl. I used to think you were a total doofus. Now I'd only think you wore a hat like one. How Carl handled his own death is only half the story, of course. The being convincingly sad about Carl dying award goes emphatically to Judith. She sounded truly devastated. The episode did well to limit the number of people shuffling in to say, "Sorry you're dying, bro," because too many would have been exhausting. Daryl's goodbye was nice and understated, and very Daryl. Sadiq's farewell was necessary to contextualize his future in the show, if so hammy that I was tempted to throw mayonnaise at it, while Rick and Michonne's was hefty, and rightly so. The only niggle for me was the revelation that the old Rick flash-forwards were some kind of made-up Carlotopia. It was all a dream, defense didn't work in Dallas and it didn't work here. Why was Negan there? Stupid. Dead Carl, with your dreams. It wasn't all Carl death and crying, though. The episode's secondary narrative centered on Morgan and Carol's double badass attack on the Kingdom to rescue Ezekiel. This is where the quality started to fray. Initially, Morgan's brief tangle with the Saviors fleeing the sanctuary was kinetic and exciting, redolent of the verite shaky cam of Children of Men. Things started promisingly with Carol, too. There is something basic and hugely enjoyable about these two going Terminator. Any misgivings they once had about murder long since abandoned in a pile of someone else's kidneys. A henchman using a radio, only to discover to his horror that his fellow henchmen are dead and therefore incapable of using radios, is always cool, too, even if the trope has been dropped into parody by every action film ever. I was even prepared to forgive the clobbering stupidity of Carol and Morgan's plan for assaulting Ezekiel's throne room. Walk in. Room with no cover, stand still, shooty bang until bad men gone, hope don't die, because Morgan literally pulled out another man's gut pipe through a non-natural hole in his body. It was gross, the kind of icky shock the show can throw at you on occasion to make sure you are paying attention. It is fitting that an episode about the death of Carl, a character who used to make stupid decisions that got people into trouble, would pass this baton on to another, little Henry, whom I now hate. How could he possibly sneak up on all of them? Why did he go straight for the death stab to the back of the neck? None of it made sense and it dragged the whole episode down several notches. Typical illogical nonsense. Go away, Henry. No one likes you. I miss Carl. The flash forward to Rick looking worse for wear, nursing what looked like a gunshot wound to the abdomen, didn't resonate with me, either. Mainly because it wasn't so long ago that Rick recovered from a similar gunshot wound over the course of what seemed like a long weekend. If it was a zombie bite, though, and the redness around Rick's eyes had hints of ex-alive chic about it, this changes things. Time will tell. Oh, and one last thing, there are dark scenes, and then there are scenes in which it is impossible to see what the hell is going on. I get that we are in a sewer, or sneaking around at night stabbing people. But entire minutes went by when I might as well have been listening to someone hitting aubergines with hammers with a pillowcase over my head. Did anyone else struggle? All in all, though, honor did the business. Deaths like Carl's are what The Walking Dead used to do, and demonstrably still can. It often forgets that, for a loss to pinch, you have to be saying goodbye to something in which you have become emotionally invested. Tara or Jesus or Enid could fall into a hole of knives and fire and sharks and I probably wouldn't see it is an adequate reason to shift my weight from one bum cheek to the other. But Carl's death landed. It made me realize the power the show still has. If anything were to happen to Rick, Carol, Michonne, Daryl, Daryl's bike, Daryl's crossbow or Daryl's hair, I would be inconsolable. It is with this in mind that I go into the next episode with cautious, somewhat renewed, optimism. Rip Carl. Topics: The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, episode by episode. Drama television. US television. Share on Facebook, share on Twitter, share via email, share on LinkedIn, share on Pinterest, share on Google, share on WhatsApp, share on Messenger. Reuse this content.